At the wedding, he played a fake video that caused my miscarriage, then ran off with his mistress. 5 years later, he returned destitute, stomping on my hand, forcing me to grovel, and even throwing my lily out, causing her to hit her head. He then accused me of having an affair with Grandpa James. It turned out I had already married Sage, his uncle, an enigmatic financier known for his ascetic lifestyle. Becoming the Lu family matriarch, I immediately threw my marriage certificate in his face. Only then did he discover his mistress was pregnant with someone else's child, and he overheard her conspiring with Iris to sell his organs for money, then discarded him once he was no longer useful. In a fit of rage, he locked himself and his mistress in a room and set it on fire, resulting in a murder-suicide. Their bodies were charred beyond recognition. On the wedding day, Nova publicly played scandalous footage of me with multiple partners. The woman in the video was blindfolded, wearing a wedding dress, her voice trembling to the point of breaking. "I'm pregnant. Please be gentle. I didn't know then that in our marital bedroom with Nova, the man behind me kept changing. That day, I had a miscarriage. Nova didn't know then either that he suffered from low sperm count. This was his only child." The next day, at the wedding, Nova vehemently condemned my wickedness and filth, then eloped with the woman he always idealized. At my lowest point, Nova's uncle, Sage, that unapproachable enigmatic financier known for his ascetic lifestyle from the city's elite circles, wrapped his prayer beads around my wrists. 5 years of love and nurturing finally brought me out of the shadows. But then Nova suddenly returned, hearing the noisy voices coming from the front yard. I quietly got up. Emma rubbed her eyes sleepily. "Abigail, do you have another task?" I kissed her forehead. "Abigail is going to check if Daddy's back. Will you sleep by yourself?" Emma obediently closed her eyes. I walked out of the room wrapped in my bathrobe, only to find my nightmare in the living room. Nova. He was back. He was holding his woman he always idealized, Evelyn, laughing loudly with his disreputable friends. Damn it, Thomas is finally back. Life out there is just hell. Luckily, even if things don't work out on the outside, I can still come back and inherit billions in family assets. The moment my eyes met Nova's, I instinctively fled back into the room. Nova roared in anger. "Zoe, why are you in my house? Grab her." I was thrown in front of Nova, and he stomped on the back of my hand. "You're truly skilled, cavorting with so many people, humiliating yourself in front of the whole city. And Grandpa James still tolerates you." As soon as he spoke, he brought up his masterpiece from 5 years ago. "Nova, you were the one who begged me to wear the wedding dress. You blindfolded me. You let those people defile me. Why did you do this to me?" I was engaged to him through an arranged marriage since childhood when I was very young. Then he charmed me into a relationship at 18, and I unexpectedly got pregnant at 20. My love for him was pure, even when I discovered his IMA with Evelyn. My first thought was to step aside and let them be together. Nova viciously stomped on my hand. "Thomas only touched you once, and you just happened to get pregnant. You got pregnant, fine. It's not like I wasn't willing to marry you, but you shouldn't have messed with Evelyn. Evelyn is so innocent, yet you tricked her into going to a bar. She was almost abducted and assaulted by a group of people. Your punishment is well deserved." My hand trembled with pain as I angrily looked at Evelyn. "I never invited you to a bar." Evelyn's tears fell instantly. "Nova, let Zoe go. It's been so long." I suddenly understood. Nova must have treated me that way back then because Evelyn was stirring up trouble. Seeing her cry, Nova kicked me to the ground, then turned to comfort her. "You're pregnant. You can't cry. It's bad for the baby." I remembered how sick I felt with morning sickness during my pregnancy. Yet he went to Evelyn's room every night. Nova's friend whistled. "Yay, Zoe's bathrobe is hiding a sexy slip dress underneath." Only then did I realize my bathrobe had loosened, revealing the silk slip dress underneath. Nova suddenly looked at me, his eyes first burning with desire, then with anger. I nervously pulled my bathrobe close, but Nova grabbed my wrist. He ripped off my bathrobe. "Take a good look. 5 years have passed. You've grown quite a bit." His breathing grew heavy. Suddenly, he grabbed my neck. "You came out of the master bedroom to stay in the Lu family and live a life of luxury and comfort. You actually slept with Grandpa Michael. Does Grandpa James like you dressed like this? Zoe, you're really not pretty." He choked me speechless, my face turning red, my slender legs flailing. I was dressed like this for Sage. My work was unique, and I only saw him a few times a year. Every time we met, Sage would cling to me almost frantically. I struggled and slapped Nova. "I'm married to your uncle, Sage." At those words, the room fell silent. Everyone's faces instantly turned pale. That enigmatic financier known for his ascetic lifestyle, a man with a serene face but a ruthless core, offending him meant there was no escape, not even in hell. Blood oozed from Nova's lip where it hit him, but instead of anger, he burst out laughing. "Married? Someone married trash like you?" He backhanded me, making my eyes see stars and my mouth fill with the taste of blood. "Zoe, you're truly delusional. My uncle is someone you could never aspire to. He's a famous enigmatic financier known for his ascetic lifestyle, Ella's most mysterious financial tycoon. If you were to get married, it would be global news." Hearing Nova say this, yet everyone else breathed a sigh of relief. Yes, no one had heard that influential figure was married. I covered my burning cheek. Sage, a man of his stature, was like the moon in the sky. I still remember when Nova imprisoned and hurt me. My wedding dress was stained with blood. He was the one who found me, who took me to the hospital. His body trembled when he held me. Just thinking of him filled me with courage. I looked at Nova and repeated, Sage and I are married. Because I didn't want to make an official announcement. We just got our marriage certificate. This courtyard estate is a wedding gift from Grandpa James to us. Before I could finish, Nova burst out laughing. Zoe, you gone a bit crazy after I abandoned you. Fantasizing that my uncle can save you. You should take a good look at yourself. Lucas, his fingertips hooked my slip strap. Do you know how many people have thrown themselves at him? Pure college students. Genuine socialites from prominent families, top celebrities. My uncle doesn't even spare them a glance. Like he's asexual. You think dressing like this will seduce my uncle? Why don't you ask me to teach you? I struggled to push Nova away but was surrounded by his friends. My ears filled with lewd laughter, pressing down on me until I could barely breathe. I forced myself to confront them. Don't touch me, Sage will be back soon. Who are you kidding? My uncle never bothers with anything. He's just at his private mountain retreat meditating and living an ascetic life. Nova put a dog-eared headband on me, even if he really came. What are you to him? Would he go against me for you? I'm his only nephew. He gives me whichever I want. I argued in a low voice. Sage gives you everything because I chose you. What he gives you is what he gives me. But my explanation was lost in the laughter of Nova and his friends. They all laughed, thinking I was out of my mind. Nova put a collar on me. Just like a dog. Huh. Oh, I forgot. You were always a dog. You're just a nanny's lily. Yet you tried to climb into the master's position. Olivia, I resisted. Pinned to the ground, Nova sat on the sofa, legs crossed, watching me, looking closely. It doesn't quite fit. How can a dog wear human clothes? Strip her, faced with countless hands reaching for me. I instinctively cried out to Evelyn for help. After all, we were both women. Evelyn, control him. He's your man. He can't do this to me. Evelyn sat in Nova's lap. I don't care. As long as it hearted with me. Someone was already tearing at my clothes. I couldn't help but beg Nova. Nova, no, please. You can call Sage to verify. I really did marry your uncle. If you do this, I'll kill you. Nova burst into laughter. It's not like I haven't done it before. I haven't seen him come after me. Nova seemed to do it on purpose, teasing me by pulling at my clothes, revealing my shoulder one moment, my leg the next. As I frantically tried to cover myself, he lightly commented, Julian, you always had good taste, but she's a bit too pale. Liam, their eyes were filled with lust. Even Sage stared intently at me. He even pushed Evelyn away and walked towards me. Just then, a tender voice came. What are you doing? Let go of my Abigail. A massive thunderbolt flashed outside the window, illuminating everyone in the room. My face instantly turned pale. My biggest fear was waking Emma. I was afraid she would see me humiliated, and even more afraid Nova wouldn't spare my child. Everyone exchanged glances, even unconsciously letting go of me, because my daughter, Emma, looked a bit like Nova. Nova's gaze fell on Emma, gradually filled with hidden scrutiny and delight. What's your name? Emma stood protectively in front of me. My name is Emma, and I'm Miss Stephanie's daughter. None of you are allowed to bully my Abigail. Emma. Nova looked at me triumphantly. Zoe, do you love me that much? Even after I abandoned you, you still gave birth to my daughter, Emma, and even named her Emma. Are you that desperate for me? No, Emma is Sage's daughter. Sage said I am his river of unforgettable memories, and Nova squatted down and touched Emma's head. I'm your dad. You'll live with me from now on. You're not my dad. Get out of my house. Emma seemed scared, but she bravely stood in front of me. Nova's face darkened. Zoe, is this what you teach my daughter? Evelyn seized the opportunity to fan the flames. Zion, Nova left you a child so you could stay in the Lu family living a life of ease and luxury. How can you be so ungrateful? The child won't even acknowledge her father now. Nova snatched Emma from my arms. If you can't teach a child, let Evelyn do it. Emma screamed and burst into tears. But Nova's heart was made of stone. He angrily pried each of my fingers open and shoved my daughter into Evelyn's arms. Little brat, listen up. From now on, this is your Abigail. She'll have another brother for you. You still want to be Miss Stephanie. From now on, you're not allowed to call Zoe Abigail anymore. She's just a dog of the Lu family, a lowly nanny with the most malicious intentions. She doesn't deserve to be your Abigail at all. Henry, you dare to bite me. In response to Nova's accusation, Emma fiercely bit his finger. But Nova violently flung her away, and she hit her head hard on the coffee table. Emma's forehead was bleeding, but she still struggled to crawl towards me. You're all liars. My daddy said Abigail is the most beautiful woman in the world. So beautiful even the heavens would weep. Just as I was about to reach my daughter's hand, Evelyn suddenly picked up my daughter. River, you're bleeding a lot. Auntie will bandage you first, okay? She quickly changed her tone, her voice filled with suspicion. River, you have a daddy. Who is your daddy? My daddy is Sage. Hurry up and let go of my Abigail. I'll get angry and throw all of you into the ocean to feed the sharks. The child was speaking with childish innocence, yelling angrily. The others panicked again. Emma resembled Nova, but she resembled Sage even more. They couldn't help but be afraid. What if it was true? If that person from the Lu family got angry, everyone would be ostracized from the city's elite circles. Nova laughed in anger and slapped me again. The big liar raised a little big liar. It's fine if you fantasize about my uncle yourself. But why teach my daughter such lies? Am I so unpresentable as her father? Emma, seeing me hit, struggled desperately in Evelyn's arms. Evelyn let out a shriek, as if Emma had pushed her down. River, why did you push Auntie? Auntie has your brother in her belly. Nova completely lost it. He picked up Emma. Emma, you're just like your mother, calculating even at such a young age. I don't have such a malicious daughter like you. Get out and reflect on yourself. Nova carried Emma towards the door. I pointed at Evelyn and screamed frantically. You framed her. River is only 4 years old. How could she push you down? Evelyn leaned close to my ear, like a hissing snake. That's right, it was me. But Nova is willing to believe me. If you ask me, your daughter is truly resilient, even with so many people taking turns. They couldn't kill her. But she's dead for sure today. My son is the only heir to the Lu family. I don't know where I found the strength, but I broke free from everyone and ran out, only to witness Nova throwing my daughter out. My daughter's cries for help flooded my ears. Abigail, I'm so scared. It's so cold and dark outside. Without thinking, I knelt before Nova. Please, she's still little, and she hurt. Can you let her come in? I kept kowtowing to Nova. I know I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. I had no choice. I was a mother, and my dignity meant nothing in front of my daughter. Evelyn suddenly feigned kindness, looking at me meaningfully. Sister Zion, Nova is just in a fit of rage. I'll go check on River for you. She winked, and a strong man went out with her. I remember her threat to kill my daughter. I let out a desperate shriek. No, Sage, where the hell have you been? Hurry back and save River. Hearing Sage's name, Nova started punching and kicking me as if suddenly afflicted. Enough. You don't deserve to be associated with my uncle. I feel disgusted just thinking about it. Damn it. Today I'll get rid of you. This delusional woman fantasizing about my uncle. For my uncle. As if I felt no pain, I crawled towards the door using my hands and feet, even as Nova dragged me back again and again, just as I was about to reach the threshold. Nova blocked my way again this time. He raised his leg, want to go out, grovel. My consciousness was blurry, but my daughter's cries still seemed to echo in my ears. I gritted my teeth and swallowed the metallic taste of blood, and crawled forward to trembling. I had to find my daughter, Sage. You bastard, why aren't you back yet? Boomer Logan crashed in. The car smashed through Sarah and drove into the courtyard. The front end of the car crashed into the decorative rock formation and was damaged. That was Sage's car. The person in the car kicked open the damaged door. Not even bothering to look at his injuries, he lunged at Nova like a beast, punching Nova's face until it was damaged. The fierce force made Nova stumble backward repeatedly. The newcomer helped me up, his eyes quickly turning red as Iron. Are you alright? Are you hurt? I grabbed onto him. Incoherent. Rowan, River. Nova threw River out. River is bleeding a lot. I'm so scared. Rowan reassured me. It's alright. I saw River when I came. I had David take her to the hospital. My legs gave up, and I slowly sat on the ground. Thankfully, River was alright. Nova stood up with the help of his friends. He pointed at Rowan's nose and cursed him. You dare to hit me. A mere butler dares to hit the future head of the Lu family. When I get real power, you'll be the first I deal with. And how have you been managing things? How can a servant like Zoe come out of the master bedroom? And my daughter, what has Zoe taught her? Rowan shielded me behind him. Zoe is the Lu family's mistress. She is the owner of this courtyard estate. Why shouldn't she come out of the master bedroom? Nova wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Hey, Grandpa James is truly ruthless, with such a huge scandal breaking out. He still wants me to marry Zoe. Damn it, he pondered for a moment, perhaps deciding he couldn't fight Grandpa James's authority, then spoke in a more yielding tone. Evelyn is pregnant with my son. She's the Lu family's mistress. As for Zoe, since Grandpa James likes her so much, I can keep her as Sophia. Rowan snorted. Mr. Robert, you're mistaken. Zoe is the Lu family's mistress. This is Grandpa James's rule. Whoever marries her becomes the master of the Lu family. Nova was dismissive. I'm the sole male heir of the Lu family. I don't believe Grandpa James would hand over the family business to an outsider. Relieved that my daughter was safe, I took a breath, and my chaotic mind began to function again. The Lu family has historically struggled with male heirs. Nova's father died young, so the Lu family raised Nova as the heir. As for Sage, he was an unexpected addition to the Lu family, the result of an affair Grandpa James had outside many years ago. He had little connection to the Lu family. Rowan stared at Nova, enunciating each word. The Lu family isn't known for its male heirs, but you're not the only male in the Lu family. Nova's face changed. You're not talking about my uncle, are you? Ha ha ha. He's just an illegitimate child, and he's completely disinterested in women, bisexual. He even swore to my mother never content for the Lu family. I lowered my eyes. Sage had suffered terribly in the past. Everyone said he cultivated Buddhism and was devoid of desire, but they didn't know he simply couldn't attain what he sought, and gradually stopped seeking. Rowan calmly watched Nova's tantrum. Yes, Chris hasn't broken his vow. Grandpa James entrusted the Lu Corporation to the mistress. Chris merely helps manage the family business as her husband. Nova looked at me in shock. Impossible. How could Grandpa James give the family fortune to an outsider? Why? I stood up and faced Nova squarely. Because my Abigail sacrificed her life to save you from the burning building. Because after Grandpa James betrothed me to you, I tried my best to be a qualified Lu family mistress. Because I followed you at 18 and was pregnant with your child at 20. Because you set up a rape trap. And I, at Grandpa James's desperate plea, ultimately chose not to call the police. Because you absconded with funds, indulged in pleasures everywhere, and disappeared without a trace. While I nursed Grandpa James day and night on his sickbed, Nova stared at me, his expression changing repeatedly. Soon, he laughed. I understand. Zoe, this is another one of your schemes, and Nova became hysterical. Our relationship was a lie from the start. The fire that killed your Abigail was set by her herself. It was a trap you low-class people set to gain my favor, so that Zoe could marry me. She died, but you got what you wanted. Grandpa James personally arranged our engagement. Did you think everything was flawless? You didn't expect Evelyn to secretly witness it, did you? She kept the secret hidden until she was with me. Only then did she dare to tell me the truth. Then you Nova suddenly pointed at Rowan. Your wife died young, so you were seduced by Zoe's mother. Her mother set such a big fire. If you hadn't helped cover it up, how could there be no trace? I looked at Nova, a bitter smile on my face. My Abigail saved his life with hers, yet because of a single sentence from Evelyn, he completely negated my Abigail's kindness and all the years of my feeling for him. He believed we were all deceiving him, and only what Evelyn said was true. Nova, if your death in the burning building could bring back my Abigail, then I wish you would die 1,000 times. Nova laughed and shook his head at Zoe. You're being stubborn again. How could you bear for me to die, to stay by my side? You secretly gave birth to my daughter, shamelessly remained in the Lu family, and even conspired with Rowan to tell so many unreliable lies, saying Grandpa James gave you the entire Lu family. Isn't that just to force me to marry you? Mr. Davies, usually so serious, was amused by Julian's antics. Nova, face reality. Zoe is married to Chris. River is their child. The Lu family's assets have already been transferred to them. Nova looked as if he'd been struck by lightning, but he quickly shook his head again. You can't trick me. My uncle despises romantic relationships. He even despises his own bloodline. How could he possibly be interested in Zoe? She's just used goods I've been with. Since Nova returned, he had humiliated me countless times, but I had never felt heartbroken. Nor did I doubt myself because of his words, because Sage gave me all his love. He nourished my soul and my pride. Nova, you were just a mistake from my naive youth. I was wholeheartedly in love with you then. It was you who betrayed me, and that wasn't my fault. You believed Evelyn's lies and heartlessly schemed against me, leading to my miscarriage. Even though I was carrying your child, that was you crossing a legal boundary, and it's still not my fault. Everything is your fault. I won't punish myself for your mistakes, Nova. I am not your used goods. I am Sage's cherished treasure, Nova mumbled, as if brainwashing himself. You're lying to me. You're the best liar. I knew you were lying, yet you still managed to make me fall for you. Don't think that by fabricating such a huge lie now, you'll believe it, or feel guilty, or regret anything. I looked at the gradually crumbling Nova, and at his disreputable friends. I solemnly reiterated what I had said countless times. I really am married. The master bedroom has Sage's and my wedding photo. The nightstand had my marriage certificate with him. Generally, Sage comes home promptly at 9 o'clock. Rowan added, in fact, Chris should be arriving soon. He was afraid it should be too late, so he asked me to come over first. Rowan had retired and was living a life of cultivating flowers and raising birds in an unused estate of the Lu family. He was only a few kilometers from our courtyard estate. Rowan looked at the spoiled rich kids present, who were almost wetting themselves with fear, and revealed the grim smile he used to wear when accompanying Grandpa James in the business world. I have good news for you. Chris didn't call the police. And I have bad news for you. Chris decided to handle this privately. Our family had been a part of the city's elite for generations. You know how things work, right? As Rowan's words fell, those arrogant, useless rich second-generation heirs went weak on the knees and knelt down outside. Lightning flashed and thunder roared. A man arrived through the rain, prayer beads clasped in his hand. He twisted one bead with each step until he stood before everyone. The prayer beads in his hand suddenly snapped. The veins on the back of his hand bulged, but his voice in the rainy night was incredibly calm, like his usual unruffled chanting. If you want to walk out of the Lu family, have you decided what you'll leave behind? I stared at Sage, my eyes slowly reddening. The bastard was finally back. Sage looked at my disheveled state, a fleeting murderous intent in his eyes. I smiled at him, signaling that I was mostly all right. He gently stroked the corner of my mouth. "Noah, I'm sorry. I'm late." I threw myself into his arms, tears streaming down like broken pearls. When confronting Nova, I hadn't shed a single tear. In these 5 years, I had grown very strong. I went to Cameron alone and never cried, no matter what happened. But when I returned to his side, I became very weak. "Sage, I miss you so much." Sage kissed my forehead, his tone filled with both relief and guilt. I was almost crazy on my way back. I clung to him, unwilling to let go. When I suddenly felt a complex gaze fall upon me, I looked up and saw Nova. I held Sage and met his gaze. His eyes slowly reddened. Perhaps he was thinking of how I used to be. When we first started dating, it was real and sweet. I was very dependent on my lover, loved to act spoiled, would cry, and was very clingy. I believed the love I felt from Nova back then truly existed. It's a pity his heart changed in an instant. Sage noticed me looking at Nova. He subtly glanced at Nova from the corner of his eye, but his tone towards me remained gentle and warm. "Shall we go back to the room first? You should change." I also got wet in the rain. It's impolite to receive guests like this. I released him but still held onto his arm, as if afraid he would suddenly disappear. Okay, I was still wearing my bathrobe, and my disheveled clothes made me look quite pathetic. Sage led me towards the master bedroom, looking back at Rowan. "Please entertain our guests, Will." The word "will," Sage almost spit out. Back in the room, Sage untied my bathrobe, revealing the sexy slip dress underneath. He trembled as he caressed my body. "Does it hurt?" Nova and his group had been rough, pulling and punching me. My body was covered in bruises. I nodded, then shook my head. "I'm fine. Don't worry. They're just superficial injuries." But River hit her head, and Nova threw her out into the rain. Just speaking of it made me choke up as Sage hugged me tenderly. He dialed Rowan's son. David gave us a precise report. River's condition was stable. She needed stitches, and would need to be hospitalized for a few days for observation. With definite news about my daughter, I managed to calm my frantic emotions. I was strong, but only my daughter and Sage were my weaknesses. Sage took out medicated oil and lightly treated my wounds. "After we've dealt with the guests, we'll go to the hospital to see River and check if you have any internal injuries. Whichever you say." I smiled at Sage. With him, I felt so secure, as if I didn't need to think for myself. After applying the medicine, Sage helped me change my clothes. As we were preparing to meet the guests, Sage suddenly spoke. "How about you rest a bit longer?" I knew he handled things rather brutally, and he probably didn't want me to witness too much, but this matter concerned me, and I had to handle it personally. I teased him playfully. "What? Are you afraid he'll see Nova? You're not jealous, are you?" Sage took my hand and walked out of the master bedroom, his voice filled with a light sigh. "Yes, you know, I'm very insecure." In the living room, Rowan had already dealt with the others. Some had broken hands, some broken feet, some were bleeding, some were forced to prostrate themselves 99 times, but they were all willing, or rather, forced to be willing. In any case, our Lu family would certainly not resort to violence. We would never do anything against the law. In the living room, only Nova remained. He sat dejectedly on the floor, seemingly a mere shell of a man. Sage pulled me and sat on the sofa, his long leg kicking Nova. "Introduce yourself. Call her Blake." Nova stubbornly refused to speak, staring fixedly at Sage and me. "What are you looking at? Haven't you seen a handsome man and beautiful woman?" Sage said, acting out of character, pulling the back of my neck and kissing me. Such a childish trick, but what could I do? Of course, I indulged him. Well, Sage was naturally clear-headed, and it was rare for him to have onyx. Just as I was about to suffocate, Sage finally let go of me. He glanced at the crumbling Nova. "You don't have to call her Blake. After all, the Lu family has already disowned you." Nova erupted in fury. "Why? Did Grandpa James agree?" "Yes, he did. Before he died, he personally crossed your name off the family records." Sage looked at him coldly. "Grandpa James wanted to see you before he died, but unfortunately, after we finally found you, you thought he wanted to trick you into coming back to get married and fled again." I spat. "Chi, a coward who only knows how to run." Nova froze, his eyes slowly reddening. Grandpa James had doted on him the most in the family. Sage seemed to think twisting the knife wasn't enough. "Your Grandpa James, my father, knelt down before he died and begged Noah and me never to pursue your responsibility in this life." Noah, being soft-hearted, agreed. "So you're lucky you don't have to die. However, one thing is clear, your bullying of my wife cannot be settled amicably. I hope Grandpa James blesses you so you can crawl out of the Lu family alive." Sage grimly put on his brass knuckles, picked up Nova, and proceeded to beat him mercilessly. A brutal assault that left him bloody and disfigured. Nova, whether from fear or guilt, didn't fight back once. I had long grown accustomed to bloodshed. My military research field meant an explosion could level a whole area. I watched Nova bleeding all over the floor, and Nova stared fixedly at me. His eyes were so complex, finally even revealing a plea. What was he begging me for? For my sympathy? Or for me to make Sage stop? But I wouldn't. I no longer loved him. I only felt satisfaction he bullied me. He bullied my daughter. If the law allowed it, I would have killed him with my own hands as Sage vented his anger, took off his brass knuckles. Then had someone carry the half-dead Nova out. I went up to wipe his hands. Why do it yourself? Aren't you afraid your hands will hurt from beating such a scoundrel? His hands, used for copying scriptures and meditating, how could they be stained with secular blood? I noticed Nova's stubborn, intense gaze finally completely dimmed at that moment. He was half dead from the beating, and I didn't even spare him a glance, turning instead to show pity for Sage. The one who beat him alone personally saw the guests out, raising his voice as he left. Mr. Nova. A friendly reminder, you have low sperm count. I advise you to verify whether Miss Evelyn's child is actually yours. I froze for a moment, suddenly understanding why Grandpa James had been so happy when I got pregnant back then, even threatening Nova with inheritance to marry me. It turned out that child had come so hard, but tragically, Nova himself had killed it. Nova's perspective, I knew since childhood that I had a little bride. Her Abigail died saving me, so I owe her a lifetime of repayment. My little bride, she was especially beautiful, gentle, and very clingy. Falling in love with her seemed natural. When she was 18, I couldn't wait to confirm our relationship, but she was still young. I didn't even dare to touch her. Until she was 20, I couldn't resist having relations with her. Afterward, Evelyn told me that I was so impulsive because Zoe had drugged me, and Zoe would stop at nothing to become the Lu family's mistress. Evelyn, like Zoe, was also a nanny lily from our Lu family. I knew she always liked me, to the point of being willing to be my mistress. After that time, Zoe got pregnant. Evelyn said Zoe wanted to bind me with the child. At the time, I resented Zoe's scheming, but deep down, I still liked her. When she got pregnant, I stopped touching her, but a young man who had just experienced intimacy couldn't resist. Naturally, I started spending time with Evelyn. I don't know how Zoe found out, but she exposed my affair with Evelyn to Grandpa James. Zoe was quite the actress. She cried, saying she wanted to fulfill my happiness, and that she wanted to study abroad. Because of her, Grandpa James hit me for the first time, even forcing me to marry her by threatening my inheritance. I did like Zoe, even though I resented her for using Abigail's death to bind me, and for manipulating Grandpa James to bind me with the inheritance. But we still set a wedding date. I begged her to forgive me for the sake of the child. Women are easy to appease, and she loved me so much of course she'd give up studying abroad to marry me. I had seen many women from wealthy families. They would eventually accept their husbands having a red flag at home and colorful flags outside. Even a figure like my Grandpa James, didn't he still have an illegitimate child outside? However, I underestimated Zoe's ruthlessness. She actually sent a text message to trick Evelyn into going to a bar. If I hadn't rushed her, Evelyn would have been defiled. That day, Evelyn even took a knife from me. Before she died, she told me that the big fire at home that year was set by Zoe's mother, Abigail. She did it to become my benefactor, so Zoe could marry me. What I thought was responsibility turned out to be just a scheme. I was furious that I had actually fallen for a vicious woman like Zoe. On one hand, I had Evelyn's wholehearted love, and on the other, Zoe's deception and emotional blackmail. With the wedding date approaching, I chose to elope with Evelyn. Before the wedding, I set Zoe up, filming her in scandalous footage of me with multiple partners. I also embezzled most of the company's assets and took Evelyn to live a life of luxury. But money eventually runs out. When I ran out of funds, I thought about having a child and returning home, hoping Grandpa James would forgive me once he saw his great-grandson. Evelyn and I tried for 2 or 3 years, and finally managed to conceive a boy. I returned home as planned. Wanting to surprise Grandpa James, I used hacking techniques to disable the household surveillance. I even called friends to bolster my courage, but I never expected the first person to see upon my return to be Zoe. She was even more beautiful, with a mature allure. The sight of her rubbing her eyes and walking out of the master bedroom was a vision of our future together I had fantasized about countless times, but she hadn't waited for me. She had divorced my uncle Sage. I had always found them strange. Zoe had looked after my uncle when they were younger. My uncle, an illegitimate child, was certainly not welcome in our family. I couldn't believe it. I denied it repeatedly. Zoe couldn't possibly marry someone else. Yet when my uncle kissed her, her face flushed completely. That's when I knew Zoe had truly fallen for someone else. I had seen the way she loved me, so I recognized the way she loved another. I was consumed by insane jealousy, yet I knew deep down I deserved it. I had lost my status as her, lost the woman I deeply loved. But I comforted myself, at least I still had another understanding woman. Evelyn was carrying my child. She was willing to tolerate my philandering. She was the one who truly, purely loved me. However, Rowan reminded me that I had weak sperm, and Evelyn's child might not be mine. I suddenly realized that Evelyn and my brother Mia were very close. When I started paying attention, I hid in the closet and easily caught them having an affair. They were discussing how to trick me into smuggling myself abroad, how to harvest and sell my organs, and how to use me to get money to raise their child. That day, I lost everything. I realized Evelyn had been deceiving me all along. Zoe's Abigail had truly died to save me. I had slept with Zoe because Evelyn had drugged me. Zoe had always loved me purely. And it was true she wanted to let go when I cheated. She hadn't invited Evelyn to a bar before the wedding, nor had she arranged for someone to assault Evelyn. My heart died. I should have died long ago. I should have died in that fire years ago. I sealed off the doors and windows, started a fire, and intended to drag that wretched pair down to hell with me. Before I died, I looked through the window and saw my uncle. I saw him reciting prayers for me, and suddenly understood something even though he had agreed with Grandpa James. He still hadn't intended to let me go. He merely wanted to use others to kill me. A man with a serene face but a ruthless core, with a man like him protecting her. Zoe would live a life free from worry. The flames of death engulfed me. I'm sorry, Zion.